Good afternoon, everyone. We shall start our third session and last session for the day. So I would like to introduce the speaker for the session. Dr. Manjunatha Reddy is working as Associate Professor in the Department of Biotechnology, RV College of Engineering, Bangalore, and has been teaching bioinformatics, genomics, proteomics, environmental science, and biotechnological aspects since 2007. He has received several awards such as Fellow of International Congress of Environmental Research, membership from GSEED, Bhopal, Young Researcher Award from ISDE RVCE chapter, Best Environmentalist Award from Deccan Environmental Research Organization, Aryabhatta National Award. Dr. Manjunatha Reddy has so many accomplishments, so I'm just highlighting only few of them. So he is currently guiding 7 PhD students. He has successfully executed several funded projects and delivered several expert talks. He holds PhD in environmental science, um, MSc in environmental science, and BSc in chemistry, botany, and zoology. He has published over 80 research papers in reputed international conferences and journals. He is also a reviewer and editorial member of several journals. Uh, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the brief introduction of me.
Yeah, uh, because of the achievements, I have to keep it short.
No.
I
That's
have
why
just
that's
highlighted few
actually.
because your achievements are like
Thank you, sir.
magnanimous. Uh, uh, Very happy to have such an eminent speaker with us. Look forward for a great session, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Hope you are all doing well. I have very few slides. I will not bore you too much. How the changes are happening in this environment, how the changes are required, and we have seen a lot of changes in these recent years. Everybody have witnessed many problems. Everybody have witnessed many changes, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Not only we, the entire world is facing that. Okay, let me not bore you too much on that. Today's topic for the discussion, and it's on sustainable environmental strategies. So when we are talking about the smart cities, I hope you can see my presentation. Can anyone please let me know whether you can see my presentation or not?
Not yet, sir.
Oh, okay, madam. For me, it is visible.
It is visible now.
Okay. Okay, madam. Right.
So please make it full screen.
Yeah, I am making it, madam.
Yeah.
I think there will be a time lap, it seems. That's why it's taking little few seconds delay. As I could see here in my system, probably it's taking little time. I think so.
Fine, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's a full screen. Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about the smart cities. So you are all thinking like how these environmental strategies have come. So smart cities and sustainable cities are entirely different now. So I could able to understand what is a smart city and what is a sustainable city. Sustainability, sustainable developmental goals, the SDGs that have been incorporated nowadays. And sustainability is one such word which will tell you like from scratch from a small point of view to a larger sectors. Okay, from one smaller organism, from one single simple room where we live to the entire world, we can think of sustainability. Either we are sustainable or not. Sustainable with respect to what? Okay, so these are the some of the terms that are we are going to discuss. Some of the topics that I have thought of and I would like to discuss with you on these topics. Okay, so these are though the number of lines are more, but I have restricted that discussion for specifically how the sustainability and modern sustainability. That's very important now. Everybody talks about environment. We know all the problems in the environment. Everybody talks about the pollution. Everybody talks about the problems associated in the environment. But who cares how it can be cared, whether it can be cared or not, whether we are responsible for that or not. So these are some of the questions that I had it in my mind. Topics to be discussed in this session. So I purposefully written the topics word in a reverse order, just to make you to give an attention over here. Probably I will not restrict only to here. I will take questions every time in now and then or in between. No problem on that. If you feel that you can, if you want to ask, please do stop me and we will discuss more of. Some of these points you can read out. What is sustainability, about introduction, maybe the definition and such stuff, because we are all the faculties. We'll start like that. We'll give an introduction and then we'll go to the applications. So that's how even my presentation I have prepared the same way. What are the requirements of a city, even if it is a smart city or sustainable city? I am stressing these words here, a smart city or a sustainable city, because at the end I will differentiate what is a smart city and what is a sustainable city, and what is its significance. What are the problems? What are the requirements, necessities that should be there in a city? What are the effects currently occurring on the environment under cities? That's very important. We are talking only under the city, town, townships. Okay, either it may be a metropolitan city or a big city or a small city. We are talking about one kind of urban population. I have focused only on that area today in this topic, in this presentation. How to curb these effects? What if we come to know what is the problem, then only we can cut the problems, we can solve or we can give a solution to the problem. How to promote the sustainable strategies? If we can understand the sustainable strategies we can develop. So if we can develop the sustainable strategies, then what we have to do, we have to implement it. If we have implemented or if we have put it forward, then what we have to do, we have to follow it up. And we have to follow that. These are few things that are related, and they will go one after the other. If one is failed, it means the entire system is failed. If we don't have plan, we have failure. If we did not follow the lane, then we are failure. Okay, same way. Probably you know many of these things I know, but I don't want to reiterate only on those things which you know. But I have few, some are new things, are modern things, are maybe an advanced kind of the things to be discussed over here. Probably you might have heard, but I would like to elaborate much more on that in this talk today. And probably if you can talk about environment, sustainability, or good things, bad things, we will try to impose many things to the kids. I have mainly put this here. Why always the kids are the primary source for the feeding any kind of the information? We always try to put the information to the kids. We will tell, do it this, and my daughter or a son will tell them to do this, do good, do respect to the elders, so and so, we follow the rules, and so on, so forth will tell. But whether we are following, how best, is it correct just to feed the information to the kids? We will discuss. Role of citizens, it's everybody's property. Environment or nature is everybody's property. Everyone have the right to spoil, but nobody is caring. That's why these kind of the topics have come up to these levels, and we have to discuss all that. It's very pathetic. Outside, it's very pathetic how to manage the environmental system. Okay, so the role of, and there are no revenue boundaries. India, Bangalore, Karnataka, Andhra, or Maharashtra, MP, Rajasthan, America, Pakistan, Afghanistan. There is no revenue boundary for most of the environmental problems. We just have shared some part of this land, stating that this is mine, this is yours, this is great, this is good, this is bad, kind of thing. But for a nature, Mother Earth, it's all one and the same. Somewhere she is having some cold region, somewhere she is having some greenery region, and somewhere she is anchoring or hosting some of the individuals. The most intelligent individual, the human being, is harming the environment under the name of developmental activities. Of course, without the development, we cannot survive. That is a situation in this world. But how can everybody can take part in defining or shaping up of this environment, maybe exclusively under the cities? Okay, because our topic is on the cities, especially the smart cities. Okay, role of governmental agencies. What could be the role of governmental agency? What are the agencies that are available? How best they can implement? I don't want to talk about HRD or Ministry of Environment and Forest and so on. I don't want to talk about that, but I'll just wanted to tell you how they can be implement, or how they can be involved in the developmental or sustainable activities. Next point is important. I think I have made that bold. How nature acts. The nature, the Mother Earth, how the Mother Earth is going to act. So that is the new concept. It's a new, of course, Mother Earth, nature acting, or nature actions are not the new concept. How we are understanding the nature aspects is the new concept for us. Nature is managing its values, its quality, quantity, everything since many decades, years, centuries, and so on. Again, whenever the nature is there, it's being managed by itself. Our concept, what the new thing that I have told, is just the thing that we are trying to understand and trying to improve the nature and trying to solve the problems of the nature. Okay, so that's where I made it as a little bold, that is NBS. B is small letter, that is there. It is nothing but nature based solutions. Probably you might have heard about it. There are plenty of examples that you can take for nature based solutions. Okay, just think about one. You people might have heard, many people are moving towards organic milk, organic sugar cane, organic coconut, organic cereals, organic that, organic sugar, organic this. So many things people are talking about organic. Everything you can say organic. Oh, that's organic one. I'm glad to have that. I may pay a little more extra also, but I would like to have organic. How, whether we are really foolish, whether we, I don't know how we are getting adhered to those kind of things. But if we, our knowledge is limited to that, if we think about that, our Mother Earth, the nature, is thinking about NBS, nature based solutions, natural solutions. Okay. Of course, whatever we do, nobody will follow. I told you in the beginning itself, we have to follow. We have to stick to the regulations. Okay, otherwise people cannot follow. If one person or a small population is going to disturb the entire population, entire system is going to be collapsed. Okay, so amendments must be there, and it must be at large level. Okay, those we will discuss. I am not going to talk about the IPC section, that, this, and all, but what could be that such kind of the amendments and where it can be applied to the environmental system, either in the city or wherever. Probably you might have heard about the ecology. It's a very common term like environment. Everybody is using it. Ecology, ECOLOGY. Ecology is nothing but high cost home dwelling, that this and all is there. But ecology is an observational science. When you talk about the science or the technology, science, if there is a science, technology will also follow because scientific applications needs the technology. So that they all will follow ecology, ecosystem. There, it's nothing but observational science. Probably you might have heard about, which is a, after all discussing all that, we should also know which is a sustainable or clean city in the world and in India, or whether they are really the sustainable one or not. And some of the systems, some of the cities have received the clean city awards from our Prime Minister Modi ji. Okay, like that, there are many cities are there which can be called as clean cities, smart cities. In Karnataka, Mysore have received 2 times the Smart City Award. There are 20 smart cities in India. Some of them have repeated their awards, kind of. Okay, so let us see which is the one which is a smart city or a clean city or sustainable city. I told you in the beginning that I will try to differentiate what is a sustainable and what is a smart city. Okay, clean city concept, how that is there in India, that also we can see, because we have to think about our immediate surrounding, right? That's why we will see some, what is happening in and around, and some environmental strategies of smart cities. And being engineering faculty, what we think about the technology, right? So every time we think about the technology, developments, advancements, algorithms, programs, and all that. So all your technologies, cutting edge technologies, can cut the problems of the environment. Okay, I hope I don't want to take much time over here. Let me go to the next one. That's nothing but the sustainability. As I told you, so we will always start with the introduction and then application, right? So just not to bore you on this afternoon session, I have included some videos which can give some kind of the attention and interest to you also. Okay, so they may be good. Once you will watch that, you will get to come to know. Sustainability, the definition is something like it has to manage its own. It has to sustain on its own, is nothing but the sustainability. It is the ability of a system which has to sustain on its own, which has to manage on its own. Okay, that's the sustainability. You can take whatever you want, however you want. It's a plastic thing or a metal or a city or a park, whichever the system that you can take, it should have its own kind of the managing system, sustain system. A few words over here on sustainability are meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Okay, so for future generation, it should not harm. For tomorrow, there should not be any dirt. That for next generation, there should not be any problem. If you will use that material as the resources to such an extent, that thing, that process, that system is called as sustainability. It's a very simple kind of the definition, right? There are 3 pillars should be there for any smart city, not only for smart city. If you think of any system, there must be three pillars. One is environmental. Without environmental, one cannot move. Without any health, one cannot move. Okay. Another one is the social and economical. So the economical things, I am very, very poor at discussing about the economical things. I can only discuss about environmental aspects. Of course, these three wickets can hold the entire world. The three pillars of sustainability are environmental, social, and economics rather. Okay, after the people have got the greatest knowledge, the three pillars are shaking like this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I hope you have followed my last to last slide that was talking about the topics to be discussed. Okay, amongst them, I had structured this talk in that way such that it is easy to understand and get the information. Um, good good information flow should be there. Okay, requirements are in the city. What are the basic requirements of the city? Everybody knows water, current, or electricity, and maybe roads, and markets and such stuff, right? So, country or a village and the urban sector differs with these things. Water is there in urban as well as rural. Food is also there, urban as well as rural. Some basic and very good environment is there in the rural sector, but not in the urban. Roads may not be there in the rural, but it's there in the cities. Okay, like that, we have some classifications, right? So basically, these are some of the things that are required for any kind of a city. The resources and services in the city are accessible to all. In a village, if a person wants to repair his mobile, he will go to the city and then get it done. In a city, he'll go to his neighborhood, maybe a next extension, and get it done. So that's the difference between a village and and an urban location. Okay, so like that, the resources and services in the city must be accessible to all. Then you can call that as a city. Public transport is seen as a viable alternative to cars. In a smart city, I'm talking about the smart city, the public transport must be a viable alternative for cars. If you put the public transport in a massive way, probably number of cars on the road will be very, very less. How does a public transport? So people will stand in the doors and move. No, 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 no way. Public transport must be safe and reliable. Should have a bus or a metro or any kind of the transportation that should be very much accessible, and it should not be a panic to the public to move from one place to another place. Walking and cycling is safe. Go back to our own kind of ideas. Walking and cycling is very, very safe, and it's one of the need of the hour for various reasons. Walking, it will make us fit, and cycling, which will avoid the usage of the fuels. Okay, a lot of advantages are there with respect to walking and cycling. If you just give 1 minute thought on these things, walking and cycling. Okay, so next one is the areas of open space are safe, accessible, and enjoyable. If there is any open space, we might have seen in our cities, a lot of open spaces are there, and many of those open spaces, if it is on next to the road, next to the main road, probably they are nothing but the dumping yards. So people will come, stop their bike, and throw their bag, and they will go. That's it. So how we will manage? We are all maybe the one who threw that waste. It might be a very good professional, very good educated one, but people will do that. But in a smart city, these kind of the empty areas or open spaces, they must be of a kind that it must be safe, accessible, and enjoyable. You can enjoy over there. What kind of enjoyment? Every sector, if from a baby to an elderly person, they will have different levels of enjoyments that we all will agree. Okay, but it should be that like that in any kind of the smart or sustainable cities. Okay, wherever possible, renewable resources are used instead of non-renewable resources. Wherever possible, like one simple example is something like we are taking our own bags for shopping. That's one of the simplest way, and most of us are doing now. Many people are thinking they will not feel ashamed of holding the old bag instead of holding a plastic bag. People, if anybody is carrying 3, 4 plastic bags, probably one should be ashamed of it. Okay, so it is a situation like that now. So that if any kind of any educated person, they will try to minimize the use of the non-renewable resources and try to use the renewable resources. There are many. I don't want to list out all that because it's not our cup of cake today. Waste is seen as a resource in a sustainable city, in a sustainable way. Waste must be like a cash. It must be a resource and it should be recycled wherever it is possible. How much ever it is possible, we try to recycle it. Okay, so that's very, very important kind of things now. New homes are energy efficient. We depend on various people to construct the buildings and so on, but how much they are ventilated, how much light we can receive, what is the sustainability of that building, how does these sustainable factors can work with respect to that building, whether it has the rainwater harvesting system or solar paneling system, daylight saving system, how many things that we will plan as when we are constructing any house. Okay, so these kind of, there are some more strategies are there. What kind of the brick that you can use, whether that brick is going to absorb the carbon dioxide or not. Okay, that's the level of advancement nowadays. Okay, there is access to affordable housing. We put a lot of effort for this. You all know about it. Community links are strong and communities work together to deal with the issues such as crime and security. In a sustainable city, this is also one of the important factor. This is coming under the social thing. Okay, I have shown the 3 pillars now. In that, in the social thing, the community links will be there. The community links will be very, very strong, and the communities can fight for the a good cause. Okay, they will work together to deal with the any kind of the issues in the system. So then only we can call it as sustainability. If the government will bring a lot of projects, like it is putting all the money into the lot of projects and construct the things and try to keep the city clean, but if the person is throwing everywhere the things, everywhere the wastages, then I don't think any sustainability definitions will suit over there. It can be called a smart city, but may not be the sustainable city. It is sustainable. For sustainability, there should not be only the environment that should be sustainable, it's also the mindset of the people. They should also be sustainable towards the sustainable development. The mindset is very, very important. If any action have to happen, there are in the two places it will happen. One is in the mindset, another one is the actual activity. Okay, so I don't want to take much on that. We'll move on to the cultural and social amenities must be accessible to that. Okay, so the cultural and social amenities must be very near and are maybe accessible to each and every person in the society. Inward movement or inward investment, get the money from different places. Inward investment is something like people are ready to invest in your system. If there is a sustainable system, people are ready to invest the system. Many of the Bangaloreans will think of getting a site in Mysore and wanted to relax over there during their after retirement stage. It is just because Mysore being a cool, calm city kind of thing. I'm not, favoring towards the Mysore city, but if the people who are seeing this Bangalore, busiest Bangalore, will always try to think of Mysore or adjacent localities or the districts. They will go there and happily they wanted to lead their life in the later stages, maybe after retirement. So what happens over there? That is an inward investment for Mysore city. I'm just taking that as an example. Okay, if we increase the sustainable factors, the investments from across the globe will pour in. That is a inward investment that will happen. That is an advantage. That is an economical kind of the view for the sustainability of the cities. Hope I'm not boring you. And this is one city. I told you, right? It should be accessible. In the previous slide, I used many times the accessible to this person, accessible to that person kind of thing, right? Maybe for kids or to the different ages and all. Here is one city in the world, not only this city, there are many cities are also there like this, but one example I have taken here, not many, of course, maybe in the finger count that you can take. Okay, these cities like Paris, London, and in Australia there is one more city is there. Oh, these cities are something like they will be called as 15-minute city or 20-minute city. Okay, probably you might have heard about this. It is something like this. In a 15-minute city, I'm going to run this video, but the video is running a little faster. So for that, before that, I would like to explain you, and then you can watch. And furthermore, if we want, we can discuss. Okay. The 15-minute city is something like if we can walk or go by bike or bicycle. Okay, so you can get all your accessories or all your amenities within the 15 minutes of reach. If you want some kind of the requirements, okay, so you will go to the place within a span of 15 minutes, not more than 15 minutes. Within that 15 minutes drive or walk or bike, so you will get all your amenities. It must be like that. So that is called as a 15-minute city. Some cities are 20-minute cities. For example, if I have to move from Marathali to Mysore Road, I will take nearly 1.5 to 2 hours. But my in Bangalore, I'm taking that example. Okay, so if my requirement is there to that much of distance, and I am going to spend a lot of fuel, energy, time, and so much, then what is the use? How any city can be sustainable city? But this is one example, that is the Paris, which is the capital of France, is one city which is named as 15-minute city. Okay, okay. So please do watch this video. How the system is there over here. This video, I try to make it very slow, but it's not. I did not make the video, but I tried to play it a little slow, but it was not possible. It is in its own speed. It's there. Okay, so it may be a little faster, but if any discussions are there, we will discuss little later.
Hello, sir.
Us or not. Let us see what are these one by one. A sustainable city will grow at a sustainable rate and use resources in a sustainable way. Because I have money and I like that product, I'll keep that in my home, though I may not use that. This is one of the biggest fashion nowadays, right? Because I like it and I am affordable to one product, I will buy it. Whether I require it or not, I don't know. Okay, so these are the very common kind of things, but that is not a sustainable way. So any city can grow at a sustainable rate and use the resources in a sustainable way. Then only any city can be called as sustainable city. Okay, so what are the things that can be taken into consideration? Could it be more sustainable? Okay, it is a relative term again. What is a sustainable? How it can be how any city can be a sustainable? How what are the components that can be involved in such a way that it can be called as a sustainable city or sustainable component, sustainable parameter? Okay, so then you can say it may be more sustainable. It's a relative term. Okay, when it is a relative term, more there might be more than that. Okay, so like that. Do people walk, cycle, or use public transport rather than cars? If you have a facility for this, probably everybody might like that. Okay, that too with the surge of these petrol diesel prices, hike in the petrol diesel prices, nobody will be liking to get the cars if one have the very good public transport, very good accessible points. Okay, so if the people can walk, cycle, or use the public transport rather than cars, then you can call that city as a sustainable city or sustainable factor, sustainable system. Okay. Are there enough open space, safe open spaces? This is the second time we are using this in this presentation. Okay. Are there any are enough safe open spaces, services, and cultural amenities for everyone? It should not be restricted to few people and only the rich people, or maybe moderate people, or maybe only few kind of the sector people can be used. No, not like that. It should be accessible to everybody. If one can afford, so he can come in and have enjoyment. If he cannot afford, or if he's not interested, he cannot. But the system is available over there. That is very important. Okay, if that is the case, if the open space is there and it is which is safe with respect to many aspects people, so and services and cultural amenities are available, are accessible to everyone, then we can call that city as the sustainable city. Is there any enough investment in the city center? Most probably the city center must have more investment. It means that the showcasing or more number of the markets or aggregation of the unique kind of the industries must, not the industries, shops or the malls should be available or placed in the city center, because all across the city can come and go. It should be like that. There should be an access for that. If that is there, then you can call that city as a sustainable city. Is there a strong sense of community? Yeah, I don't like my neighbor. In that case, it won't be a sustainable one. If I can call my neighbor for any of the problems, if I can go and attend his problems, if I can, these are the things that we can do. We know that. But if it is without the amendments, if we can do that, then it is the sustainability. Then we can call it as the sustainable community, sustainable city. Okay, if anybody have that strong sense of community, then we can declare that city or a region or a system as a sustainable one. Is the waste recycled? Everywhere, wherever the human is going to have the activities, there will be a kind of waste that can be developed. Maybe from a small to the larger quantities, the waste will be produced. Most of them may be renewable or non-renewable. Most of them may be non-renewable. In that case, what happens? The sustainability definition will go hide. If that is not there, if we can recycle all the waste, it means that the renewable systems, renewable kind of the materials are there, and we are going to recycle it. Everybody, all people will be knowing about this 3R system in the environment. If that is there, then you can call that city as the sustainable city. Of course, there might be many materials which may not be recycled, which may not be recycled. No, no way, no chance. Every material must be recycled. Every material should be recycled properly. Okay, from its generation point. Probably you might have heard about the different sources of pollution. Okay, one is point source and another one is non-point source. In the point source, the majority of the pollutants will be produced, a majority of the waste will be produced. In that point source itself, if we can plan properly, so every bit and piece of the material will be recycled, either it is organic or inorganic. Okay, then only we can call any kind of a system or a city as a sustainable city. If there are affordable housing for everyone, uh, this is a social cause. This is a social discrimination, social kind of the impact. I don't know how to give the name for this, but there must be an affordable housing must be there for everybody. Then you can call that as the sustainable, because all the materials are available everywhere. So you can get the material and build a house with the affordable prices. Are the homes the energy efficient? This is very important over here. In the life, in this environment, in this Mother Earth, globe, or whatever you will call it, there are four systems majorly affecting environment, health, food and agriculture and other things, and the energy. These are the four basic needs that are essential for everybody across the globe. Okay, the energy, the definitions and all such stuff, or it's the various forms and all that. That is one of the factor. Okay, but like that, there are it may be interrelated with various other factors also. Okay, so if the homes are energy efficient, maybe trapping the solar energy, cut down the usage of the maximum energy. Okay, that itself is very, very useful kind of thing. Maybe usage of the wind energy. Okay, and usage of some kind of the renewable kind of the sources for the energy in a household. Okay, all that will lead to the home energy efficient homes. If that is there, if that can be observed, then you can call it as the sustainable city. Okay, and do they use the renewable energy? Of course, they one have to use the renewable energy. Non-renewable energy resources may not be encouraged over there. Okay, these are some of the points or the properties or the attributes of the sustainable cities. Okay, so at the end I will discuss like what is that smart city and sustainable city. This is one more video, Copenhagen. So here the during the lockdown, okay, previous we are seeing this lockdown periods since 2020, right? So during that period, one mayor, okay, city head have some thoughts like how can we develop this city? Okay, I am getting a little laugh because how we are, our corporators are our kind of the politicians, bureaucrats will think and how they will think. That's why they are called as developed countries. That's why we are still in the name of developing countries. Though in India, a lot of resources, diversified resources, many things are available and human resources, manpower, so much is there, but proper utilization is not up to the mark. I'm not condemning anything over here, but it's just an alarm kind of the thing. If you can learn some good things from others, it's always fantastic kind of thing. Okay, so during the lockdown, though that mayor have had some thoughts regarding how to make this city clean, green, sustainable. Okay, so this video is going to talk about how the city can be green, how the city can be clean, or how the city can be sustainable. Please do watch this video. This has some voice message as well in this. Okay, so it's easy to understand also. Okay, please do watch this video.
Cities all over the world are bursting with people. More than half of us live in cities now, and by 2050, that number jumps to nearly 70%. That's a lot of people. So how do we grow cities sustainably? And with the climate crisis, figuring out how we do that is more important than ever before. But there's one city that may be doing it better than any other place on Earth.
We want to become the first carbon neutral capital city by 2025.
So we packed up our gear and headed here to Copenhagen, Denmark to find out how. It's not surprising to learn that 2/3 of the world's carbon emissions come from cities. That number is getting worse as more of us move into cities, which means a higher demand on infrastructure and resources. So Copenhagen is on a mission to cancel out all of their carbon emissions.
My name is Frank Jensen, and I'm the Lord Mayor of Copenhagen. When I became mayor, we started this process. We decided that we would want to become the first carbon neutral capital city by 2025.
What does carbon neutrality actually mean? For a city, it's creating more renewable energy than the dirty energy it uses. It's all about achieving a net zero. And their plan is focusing on mobility, pollution, and energy.
We have introduced a lot of new solutions in Copenhagen. Our bicycle infrastructure is world famous because today 62% of the Copenhageners use the bike for daily transportation.
Everyone in Copenhagen bikes, and I mean everyone. So the city is leaning into that. In the last 10 years, it has invested nearly $300 million to improve biking infrastructure. All that money is paid off. There are more than 5 times the amount of bikes than cars in the city. That goes a long way when cutting down on carbon emissions. But the effort doesn't stop there. Copenhagen has totally transformed their waterways too. Only a few decades ago, the harbor was contaminated with industrial waste, oil spills, even dead fish.
When I moved to Copenhagen back in 1987, this harbor was so polluted, you could never dream to have a swim in this harbor. But today you can swim. We have a harbor bath where people can have a swim with their kids after school, after job.
Though Copenhagen has made huge strides with their mobility and pollution efforts, by far their biggest focus is on energy use. It makes up about 80% of their carbon neutral plan. To cut down on their consumption, Copenhagen uses one of the world's largest and most successful district heating systems. It works by using a network of pipes to capture leftover heat from electricity production, then delivers that heat to homes across the city.
99% of all households in Copenhagen are linked to our very efficient district heating system. We have also introduced district cooling, where we take the cold out of the water in the harbor and distribute cold in pipes beside the district heating pipes. So you can reduce temperature in buildings, in server rooms, in factories. We can reduce electricity use for cooling down buildings with 70%.
To come up with these kinds of sustainable solutions, Copenhagen collaborates with partners across the city, like Copenhagen Solutions Lab, an incubator for smart city initiatives.
What Copenhagen Solutions Lab does is actually solving some of the bigger problems in the world by using technologies in order to accelerate this transition into a carbon-free economy. So, for instance, the problem of air quality, people in cities are dying too early because of bad air, and that is a global problem, not just here in Copenhagen. Getting rid of our waste, measuring air quality, managing traffic. We're trying to solve these problems down in Street Lab.
Contrary to how it sounds, the Street Lab really isn't a laboratory. It's a 2-kilometer-long chunk of downtown Copenhagen that serves as a testing area.
Placing a lab such as this downtown in a real urban environment makes it very realistic. Everything we're testing here will be able to survive in other parts of the city and will be able to be scaled to a citywide level. It's a new generation of technology that makes it possible to measure air quality by a sensor. And now we're looking into mounting sensors actually on a Google Street View car to make it possible to measure each and every street of Copenhagen.
With these sensors, the city can better locate the source of pollutants to help improve overall air quality. The technology has already proved so useful that Marius and his team are shipping sensors to countries like Norway, Mexico, Austria, Greece, and the US. Though Copenhagen is leading the way in sustainable smart city solutions, experts and policymakers will tell you that the true secret to the city's transformation is the people. The residents here actually want to help build a sustainable city and are willing to work for it.
The citizens of Copenhagen, they demand a high quality of urban life. They are willing to do a lot themselves. They want to sort their own garbage. They want to bike to work. Citizens' involvement is key to the way we think in Denmark and in the Nordic countries. And that's a huge driving force behind being a carbon neutral city by 2025.
Since I became mayor in 2010, we have a growth rate in the number of citizens with 20%. And even that, we have cut our emissions with 42% in the same period. So we show that you can have growth, green transformation, if you do the right investments in the city.
Copenhagen's transformation hasn't been easy. And of course, their size and wealth helps. But they've made it work for their city. Regardless if they hit their carbon neutral deadline, their ultimate goal is to serve as an example for cities everywhere.
The green transformation of cities and livability, and also, very important, good economy goes hand in hand. I see Copenhagen as a front runner to show for my colleagues and decision makers, you must go green.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our series about the future of cities, check out our website for even more content. And don't forget to subscribe to Freethink.
Nice to watch that video. Nice to know some of the cities are there that can make the labs within the city, within the center of the city, so that the testing, all kind of the testings will be there, all kinds of the lab utilization at one place it is available, and the city center has been made as an incubation center. That's an awesome kind of thing. That's also called as a sustainable city. And most of the people in the Copenhagen will use the bicycles, as you have heard from that. So mainly, what are these? Moving on to our topic here. Mainly, what are these problems? Problems I had put in the red letters. So what are these problems, and how to? If we identify the problems, then only we can find the solution for those problems. Major problems I have listed. Maybe the problems associated with the micro level, there may be very much, or many will be there. But here I have listed some of the major kind of the problems to identify in the city, which can be taken out for a sustainable city. Cost of living. If the city is a sustainable one, the cost of living will be less, because first thing is the movement, the transportation, mobility, or the e-mobility, or whatever the terms that you will call. So that will be reduced. The thing in this world is something like, for a sustainable thing, the transportation is one of the biggest hiccup, biggest bottleneck, okay, for the developmental activities, because it will consume the energy, it will produce the carbon dioxide, it will produce the unwanted gases, which is not helpful for the country or the nature. Okay, so and also lot of energy will be burnt simply like that. Okay, if the same kind of the facility is there available for everybody, accessible, then the transportation will be less. From a matchstick to the aeroplane, the prices will be depending on the fuel prices. So probably you can link everything from matchstick to an aeroplane. Okay, so the transportation is something like that. The cost of living must be very, very less. But here, the cost of living is high, then we can call it, now we cannot call it as sustainable city. Water and food, it must be available everywhere. But if it is not available, water is not available, though the water is there, but it cannot be used for the potability. So in that case, we cannot call that as sustainable city. Food, what kind of food? How much food? So is everybody is fulfilled with the food? No. What quality of the food is there? We don't know. Professors, I wanted to mention one thing over here. Recently in UK, government have announced that if anyone is not obese, not overweight, if anyone is keeping their health very good at any stage of their age, okay, at any age, at any point of their age, if the person is keeping their health properly in a good condition, they will be rewarded. This is a statement that has been announced in the previous week, last week only, in the UK government, UK. Okay, it is because the 75% of the UK population is obese or overweight. Okay, so that is the situation over there. See, they wanted to give the incentives for the people who can keep their health properly. That is a kind of a situation now. So it all depends on our food habits and the LSD, lifestyle disorders. Okay, that's a different aspect. So let's not get into much on that. Water and food is one more criteria. That is one of the basic criteria for any kind of the sustainable cities. Energy, as I told you in the one of the previous slides, 4 factors are very, very essential for any human being or anybody on the earth. Okay, and in amongst them, one is the energy. Migrations and inequalities. Migrations we cannot stop. There are various people approaching towards the cities. We cannot stop. And inequalities are very, very high in any of the cities. And such cities cannot be called as sustainable cities. Sustainability is not just making a greenery location. Sustainability is not just making the lane proper. It's also not, it's also the mindset of the individuals that has to be changed. If one have the if the entire city or the entire population is following a sustainable way, so they will have a sustainable goals. They will have sustainable developments in their mindset. That should come first. So the inequalities will be reduced. Inequality is too much nowadays. Jobs and growth. So last year when the first wave was there, everybody was worried about their jobs. Everybody were like whether I can keep my job or not. Whether so in where they're not able to keep their jobs, how can they will think of the growth? I don't know. In many of the sectors, the growth was retarded due to COVID. COVID is one such reason in this Mother Earth or globe, I can call. Okay, so this is one pandemic. So in the cities, it's affecting more. Jobs and growth are affecting more. Land, land is restricted. Land is limited. Sprawling, urban sprawling is becoming high. When to stop transition? What is the transition? So in a city will be there, townships will develop around the city, and they will join together, and there will be a development of satellite towns, and there will be a connectivity problem, and one have to develop a connectivity again, and like that, the city will sprawl towards the outer edges, and it will increase. There is no stoppage. Nobody can stop. So we are spreading towards the barren land. So then what happens? The growth of the greenery, the carbon sinks are going to be affected. Everybody knows that. The green, uh, if you talk about the productivity we mean in any definition, in any of the sectors, productivity is nothing but the carbon productivity, carbonaceous productivity in the plants. The amount of photosynthesis that is developed or produced per unit area at a particular time is the productivity. That is the basic productivity for this Mother Earth. So what is the productivity in a city, in a metropolitan city, or in a big town, or any kind of the urban area? The productivity can be depending on the transition factors as well. The carbon sinks will be reduced and the problems will be risen. These are the few major problems that I have put it over here. It is, if we can address all this, probably we can move towards the sustainable development. How to curb these problems? How to cut these problems? First and foremost is the go green. Many people are talking about that. Everybody will be talking about the green. Everybody needs a tree. Everybody wants greenery and so on. Go green, some kind of the activity have been taken place with so many people. Okay, so Sundarlal Bahuguna ji and Salumarda Timmaka, they all have saved, planted so many trees. They have conserved the trees. Okay, so we all know that. But how best we can do? What we can do? What best? If we can do, then only will become sustainable. Sustainability is required everywhere, not only in the cities, everywhere in our mindset, in my room too. This entire world, the sustainability is required. That first, in the second slide, I had put the definition, which is very important. How to curb these problems, how to cut these problems, how to squeeze out these problems is very important. Go green. Everybody talks about go green, right? So what we will do, we will plant some trees. We will plant some saplings. So we'll put some water in the windshield and we'll leave it out, and that's it. Or sometimes we'll grow the plants in our kitchen garden or balcony and so on. Of course, anything we can do, but for a sustainable city, for a sustainable development, for a sustainable environment, what exactly is required, at least at this point of time, is in the ratio of 3:30:300. So this 3:30:300 can be applicable for mindset, can be applicable for activities, can be applicable for developments, can be applicable for go green also. One of these scientists, Colin Jarek, has developed a new guideline for urban forestry. There must be, see, there is a lot of carbon dioxide that is developed. We have to cut it. We have to, how to cut it? We cannot cut the emission rates because it's not in our hand. People are not listening to us. Then what do you have to do? At least you can absorb that carbon dioxide and make use of that carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. That's very simple. How to do that? Go green. 3:30:300. You can see here, 3 trees from every home is a required minimum requirement of any sustainable city, any sustainable environment. 3 trees from every home. If many people are there in a home, you can even increase number of trees, no problem. Okay, 30% of the tree canopy cover in every neighborhood. If we plant 3 trees in near our or around our house, so at least 30% of the canopy cover that we can see throughout the day, throughout the year. Okay, so the canopy rate is something like you can just go below the tree and head up. You can see the canopy, which you can imagine the area where the barren area is there and how the canopy is being covered. So that's nothing but the canopy covered area. If that is at least 30% is covered, then you can call it as a sustainable development, sustainable cities. And near your house, near your neighborhood, at least 300 meters from the nearest park or a green space must be there. So how to get that here? We have lot of barren lands. Though we can say concrete jungle and so many things in the name of developmental activities, still there are many barren lands that we can see. Only thing is the intention should be clear. The only thing is our thought process should come there and put the saplings over there and grow the green. This is the rule that if we can follow, so 3:30:300, so anybody can become a sustainable city. Any city can become a sustainable city. Cities are an immense laboratories of trial and error, failure and success in city building and city design. City design so far, apart from Vishwakarma, I don't know where anybody have done the city plan design and such stuff. It is growing. City urban sprawling is happening everywhere, every side, every direction, wherever it is possible. Either it is a Raja Kalve or it's a barren land, it's a revenue land, it's a site, BDS site, BBMP site. I don't know. We don't know. We just construct the houses, construct the industries, construct the roads, construct the payments, and so on. But there is no concern about the environmental activities. That's why the cities can also be called as the laboratories for all these things, whether that is a good thing or bad thing. There may be trial and errors that you can see, and failure and success also can be seen in the cities. But in the villages, probably because number of individuals may be less, the population density is less. Probably you can get a planned or quite comfortable kind of the city. This is one of the best thing. If we can follow 3:30:300 everywhere possible, at least if we can do that, at least if we can tell our students to follow the 3:30:300 in every sector, it is followed. In business also this can be applicable. 3:30:300. So if we can follow this rule for the go green or green activity, probably we can move towards the sustainable development or a sustainable city. Okay, there is one more thing called 10 C's. Of course, whatever the number of C, ABC that we can think, the COVID is there. No, that is also start from C. The corona is also starting from C, which is not acceptable for this word. But apart from that, there are 10 C's that will make the sustainable development or sustainable cities. These 10 cities are connection. So you can think of any kind of the connection, either a mobile connection or connectivity between the two areas or connectivity between the people. How do you connect with the people? Okay, all these things will come under the connection. The first C, collaboration. Collaboration for what? Collaboration for the purpose of making our developmental projects, making our developmental things. Community. I think in one of the previous slides that we have discussed, community must be very, very sensible community. And if the sensible community is there, the communication will definitely happen properly. If the communication proper is going to happen, then the clarity must be there between the people. And for the developmental activities, not to ruin anybody, but for the developmental activities, there must be a competence. Not everybody can do the great things, or at least the great things can involve many people, such that the competence must be there, and that should be encouraged so that the sustainable developmental activities should proceed. If there is a competence, there must be a creativity, because there is a competence, the creativity will also come into picture. Creativity are, inventions. Okay, creativity or we can call it as some of them are inventions. Okay, these are inevitable now. Earlier the inventions are used to happen accidentally, but now they are inevitable. We have to invent a new thing. If you are writing a project proposal, people will ask you, what is the invention over here? What is the new thing that you are doing? If you have not referred and you have told all the inventions, then people will ask, without, how do you justify this? Both the ways the people will question. But for a sustainability, if we have the competence, the creativity, our inventions will be there. And for all that, we have to have the courage to do that. That is the mindset of the people. That is the mindset of the community. Then we will become the champions of that environment. Then we will become the champions of that sustainable city. Sustainable city is not just because of the one mayor that can promote or do some slogans and such stuff. It is the community that have to take care, and they have to become the champions, and thereby one can get a cash. I told you in one of the previous slides about the inward investments. Inward investments can happen if we maintain the sustainable development. Inward investments will happen if we have the attractive kind of the process with us. So these are some 10 C's that can be followed to promote the sustainable strategies. I told you in the beginning why the kids will be are the primary sources for feeding any kind of the information. You can see some of these simple pictures. Okay, they're all uniform. They don't have any kind of the sadness in their mind. If questions were asked, they'll raise. If they know, they will definitely raise their hand without any hesitation. They will not. They don't have any fear. They will not have any discrimination among the individuals. They're all uniform. Their mindset is also uniform. If we tell the correct things to their kids, they will absorb very fast, and that is very, very important. And the developmental activities are very, very important for our next generation, future generation. Instead of keeping the bank balance, the fat bank balance, if we can make them sustainable kids, sustainable mindset, sustainable community, so that will be an awesome kind of the a job that we will be doing. If further required, we can discuss much more on this. So that's why most of the information that will feed the information to the kids. That is very important for the kids. Though we know our age people will be knowing, but follow up, or taking the challenges, working towards that is very, very less. At least if we can teach these kids, at least they will be interested, they can do the things better. Then come to role of citizens. I think I am little behind, it seems. I'd like to move little faster. It's already the finishing time is approaching. I don't want to bore you too much. Role of citizens is, as I told you, the community that this and all, right? Act in all aspects of the sustainable development. It's not necessary that you have to put some money and bring that, this and all. No, everybody must be equally involved in all the activities of the sustainable development. Plan, design, do it. That's it. Okay, so what you can do that? What are the things that one can do? Get the bucket, put the sampling. No, 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 no. Of course, there are some of the activities, but before that, one should understand if you are talented and skillful, if you have the talent and skillful, anybody is having the talent and skillfulness for the sustainable development, they should be encouraged to develop or design some of the projects, some of the sustainable activities. They should be taken, they should be attracted towards that activity or the project. It's not necessary everybody must be environmental engineer or environmental officer or a civil engineer or civil officer or something of that, or IAS officer to be like that. To understand that, not necessary. Identify that kind of a talented and skillful person so that you can make a plan or a design. If you are intelligent and creative, you can call them and make the process, develop the activities. And if you are good at finding out the problems, it's always the better one. Healthy critics are always welcome. There should be healthy critics on any of the aspect. Then only any system can be improved. And there must be, everybody must be active in that. At least for this, there is no need of intelligence. There is no need of skillfulness over there. At least everybody must be active enough. Okay, so then only one can call that system or a city as the sustainable city. One more thing in India, it's very, very common. In neighborhood, free suggestions for neighborhood is very, very dominant here. People will give a lot of suggestions. Hey, you can do that like that. It's not necessary. Hey, you can do this. Why did you do like that? My idea is different like that. But in his own case, in his own problem, can he solve his own problem with that kind of suggestion? No. They have very good ideas, free suggestions for their neighborhood, but they cannot follow themselves. These are some of the things that we can see. Governmental agencies. In the beginning, I told you I don't want to tell about the IPC section, rules, amendments, and such stuff. But I wanted to tell the importance or the significance or the focus or the objectives of the governmental agencies. Major objectives, major focus must be towards the water, air, sanitation, and hygiene. Human rights to water and sanitary. Water resource management, water scarcity should not be there. Water quality control, regulations, and wastewater usage must be there. See, 3 points are talking about the water only, because water is such an essential commodity which is essential for everybody throughout their different stages of life. And it's not only for human being, for all other organisms, water is essential. We all know that. I don't want to drag too much on that. For risk management and adaptation to extreme events must be there. So if any surge in the COVID, then what do you do? How does the government react? How does it's going to promote the activities, or how does it's going to curb the disease? Okay, so not only the pandemic thing, nowadays people are getting a lot of problems. It may be Maharashtra floods, or it may be North Karnataka floods, it may be the pandemic, it may be the forest fires in Australia, so many things. Whatever the technology that we can develop, advancement, 5G and so on, but We are facing a lot of such problems in the name of sustainable developments. So government should have some of the objectives to encourage or to develop the sustainable activities, something like government roles and challenges in implementing the targets. It should have the targets and they should implement it. That's very important. It should measure and to adopt and the most appropriate solutions to achieve the SDGs related to the water. Water is very essential, as I told you. So we have to make or adapt some of the measures to do that. Showcase and discuss the existing and proposed tools to address them. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the particular problem, but it has many instances in it. Showcase and discuss the existing and proposed tools, either it may be a problem or a tool or it's a developmental activity, and address that. Government should do that. Government as enablers and implementers of the tools on specific roles. On specific roles, it should act. It should exchange the practical advice and experiences on implementation. There must be some rule should be there from the government to do all that. Role of stakeholders and on proactively encourage involvement and participation. I immediately remember about our ITR thing, our income tax, the TDS that we are going to pay. No, how much we are getting back from the government for the amount that we are going to pay, but we are not counting that. We are counting like how we are the stakeholders for that, and our involvement must be very good in line with the governmental projects. Okay, role of stakeholders and on proactively encourage the involvement and participation. That is a concept, that is a kind of the activity that should be developed from the government. Okay, now comes the nature-based solutions. Nature-based solutions. So if you can see any pond, lake, okay, so though it is one time polluted, after a week or so that pollution levels or the darkening of the water will be removed, will be reduced, will be taken out. That is the natural cleansing mechanism. If you find a lot of dust in the evening, so in the morning that dust will be reduced. So it has minimized, it has calmed down. It is because the nature have got its own kind of the cleansing mechanism. At least now we will try to adapt in line with the natural activity and curb the problems for a sustainable city development. In a city, what are the things that can be done here? Population growth, resource depletion, climate change, and degradation of the ecosystem will happen as a major problem that can be observed. So that can be solved using the nature-based solutions. So these are some of the activities that can be carried out for nature-based solutions. It is like restoring and maintaining the water cycle. Water is everywhere. Okay. Nutrient recovery and reuse, food and biomass production, building system recoveries, water and wastewater recovery and its usage, material recovery and reuse, energy efficient and recovery. I think we have discussed much about all these things in the previous slides. So everywhere here, it should have the nature-based solutions. We should not we should not add any other chemical contaminants for the reuse of the water or the wastewater treatment. If we use the chemicals again, then I don't think maybe from one farm to another farm we are transferring the pollutants. But instead of that, we have to use the nature-based solutions. There are plenty of nature-based solutions are there, either maybe for the filtering techniques or coolants or maybe air filters. Okay, shade creation of the shades, movements, and so many factors are there. For all that, use the nature-based kind of solutions. Then only any kind of the sustainable developments that you can see. And you can use the highest level of the technology for that. Okay, highest level of the technology that you can use to develop or to identify the nature-based solutions, or to give a solution for any kind of the problems. It's a very small video of about 2 minutes. Please do watch this. How does this nature-based solutions can work?
Nature-based solutions can help fight climate change, biodiversity loss, and poverty. We live in a world where landscapes are dominated by farming and infrastructure, with very little space left for nature. Yet nature is our life support system, and with 1 million species at risk of extinction and extreme events increasing as the planet warms, people are suffering. But we can, and we must choose a different future. Nature-based solutions involve protecting our natural ecosystems, not just our forests, but also our peatlands, our wetlands, grasslands, and marine habitats, through locally led projects that support communities. They encompass restoring degraded habitats, cleaning rivers and allowing them to meander, bringing microbes, plants, and animals back into damaged landscapes. Nature-based solutions involve sustainably managing our working lands and fisheries and replenishing soil health. For example, by growing trees and root crops, and planting more hedgerows. And nature-based solutions also include bringing nature to our towns and cities, with connected parks, allotments, green roofs, and ponds. But biodiversity must be at the foundation of these activities, for it is only when ecosystems thrive that they can support people over the long term. And nature-based solutions can also only be sustained if they are designed and implemented by local communities, respecting indigenous knowledge, cultural traditions, and human rights. In this way, people and nature co-produce a variety of outcomes which benefit society, which in turn feed back to support biodiversity. Protecting nature can store carbon whilst restoring it can draw greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere, and in this way, nature-based solutions can help to slow climate change this century. Restoration of habitats on slopes and encatchments can store water and stabilize soils, protecting our homes and crops by reducing the risk of floods, erosion, and landslides. Healthy coastal ecosystems are also crucial for protecting communities from the impacts of storm surges, saltwater intrusion, and erosion. While in our towns and cities, trees and parks and along pavements provide shelter from the sun and rain and reduce peak temperatures during heat waves, and by bringing nature into our cities, we can also improve our mental and our physical health. Nature-based agricultural practices can help to sustain or even enhance yields, securing food supplies and ensuring clean drinking water is available year-round. Furthermore, the restoration of our lands and seas can generate valuable jobs and provide diverse livelihoods while securing supply chains. And in this way, nature-based solutions can support economic recovery all over the world. Nature has diverse cultural values, including enjoyment of natural beauty, spiritual and religious connections, all the while bringing education, creation, and health benefits. Through implementing nature-based solutions, people build stronger relationships, networks, and knowledge, which gives them the capacity to adapt, to be resilient in a rapidly changing world. All of these benefits and more support human well-being and biodiversity, which are, in turn, the foundation of sustainable development.
Hope it has some meaning about the nature-based solutions. In my list, there was something like that, like amendments at large. Amendments at large. I told you, like, I may not be talking about the IPC sections, but where are the things that are important? So three big ideas should be there, and these ideas should have countless solutions. Financing the new urban agenda. That's very important. Financial aspects. Promoting the territorial developments. This will include so much of design aspects, environmental aspects, EIA aspects, and so many things will be involved into it. Enhancing the urban resilience to climate change and disaster risks. Okay, so that is only you can call it as, then only you can call it as a sustainable city finance must be there to plan and to implement the aspects. So financial sanctions should be there, and promoting the territorial developmental activities, and enhance the urban resilience. In the urban resilience, we have to reduce the pollution, and we have to increase the green cover and various other developmental things. Sustainable cities using nature-based solutions. There are various cities, they are following the nature-based solutions. If we can follow the nature-based solutions in our neighborhood, immediately if you wanted to follow it, then in our house itself we can filter the water in the soil. Okay, so some kind of the simple systems that we can adopt and create some of the nature-based solutions. Okay, so if any dust particles are there, then put the moisture, spray the water molecules so that in the atmosphere, so that the particulate matter will come down, and then you can scrub it out. So like that we can have the nature-based solutions. So here is one more video which is talking about which is little which is about 7 minutes over here, how the nature-based solutions can be observed. But yeah, I think almost I'm at the end of the presentation. So after this, very few slides are there which will talk about, which will I will run a little faster, like various technologies and all there. Okay, please do see this. Go back, please.
American cities, big, bigger, biggest, where once there were fields, steel and concrete instead of trees.
Okay, great. But without trees, cities trap heat, causing heat islands and poor air quality. That means health problems, including higher asthma rates. And water runs off asphalt streets, causing flooding and pollution in our waterways. Throughout the world, a city's infrastructure affects the health and the livelihoods of everyone who lives in and around them. By 2050, 70% of the world's population is expected to live in urban environments. Will our future look like this or like this? Khalil Kettering, the Nature Conservancy's Urban Conservation Director in Washington, D.C., is working to make cities more sustainable.
A city is like an ecosystem. All roads, buildings, sidewalks interface not only with each other, but with nature in and around the city. My friend Jerome. Jerome is an intern with the Nature Conservancy, and he's also a spoken word artist.
Just hear me. Don't fear me. Embrace me in this process. We know without struggle, there is no progress.
Today, Khalil is showing Jerome the journey of water in cities.
Every time you turn on the faucet, take a shower, flush the toilet, that water goes into the sewers. When it rains, what usually happens is all this water hits the concrete, picking up trash, pollution, flowing straight into our sewers, taking everything with it.
Cities began to build underground sewers over 100 years ago. We've been trying to figure out how to deal with waste and pollution for a very long time.
When you first go down there, it smells bad. You never think about where it all goes when you wash the dishes.
Khalil and Jerome are in a combined sewer overflow, which means that during heavy rains, the stormwater combines with sewage.
That sewage mixed with the rainwater goes directly into the river. And you can imagine the impact of the rainwater carrying the pollution mixed with what's coming out of your toilet and what that does to the river.
Scientists like Masaya Maeda at the Anacostia Watershed Society in Washington, D.C., partner with the Nature Conservancy to measure the level of dangerous pollutants in the water. This helps us understand what's happening with water in our cities.
For years, you could go to the river and you could see car tires, see appliances, freezers, fridges, all littered within the river. A lot of people live along that river and eat that fish from that river.
We say don't eat fish from this river. It's not recommended.
It's sad to see such a great body of water and then not be able to enjoy it. How are we going to fix this?
We have some solutions to help deal with this stormwater issue.
To find those solutions, we first have to understand the way water works on a city street. When you have a piece of concrete or asphalt, like this pour from a New York City street, you can see that the surface doesn't absorb water. That's the water that runs off and ends up in a sewer and in the river. But if you pour water on a natural area, like this plant, that water is filtered as it goes into the ground. The water nourishes the plants, which release oxygen into the air and provide shade, improving air quality and lowering temperatures.
You can design your city so that the rainwater that hits your roads is then directed into gardens, is then directed into wetlands. Those areas are planted with trees, with vegetation that absorbs the water, that cleans the water, before that water then slowly flows back into the river the way it used to before all those roads were built up.
There are environmental design companies that build infrastructure projects redefining how nature and cities interact.
We were hired by the Anacostia Watershed Society to repair the channel immediately downstream of the stormwater outfall. This little outfall was contributing a lot of sediment to the Anacostia River. You know, every time it rained, soil was just sloughing in. We filled in that whole gully with probably 8 to 10 feet of sand, and then we put a few giant boulders. Some are probably 6 to 8 feet in diameter. It's a practice that mimics an upland forest. We can integrate natural systems within urban systems. We might be able to control, say, urban heat islands. Urban design would mimic an ecosystem, and it's capable of processing all the materials that are within the system.
Cities are making big changes to approach the problems posed by stormwater and sewage with solutions based on nature. Washington, D.C.'s new Cooper power plant turns sewage directly into electricity, which helps power the city's electricity grid. The byproduct of the treated sewage can be used like compost to fertilize landscaping, maybe even more rain gardens. Just like people, cities can grow and evolve to deal with new information, pressures, and problems, like climate change.
Right now, we have a chance to rethink and redesign the way our cities work.
In 50 years, I envision cities looking completely different than they do now, transforming, where every resident is a 5 to 10 minute walk from being in nature. Everybody can swim and fish in an Anacostia River. I have confidence that this vision will be true because there's more and more young people getting involved, because this is their future. This is the world that we're leaving for them.
Clearly inspired me to learn more about sustainable urban design. And more people are catching on to it, and it's sort of snowballing. It's just becoming a community of people working toward building greener urban environments. Don't get too overwhelmed. Let's just build a rain garden. A rain garden traps rainwater with its dirt and its sediment. I bet you're wondering why do it. What's the benefit? Stormwater can pollute our rivers. It'll settle in unless the gardens can absorb it. That's the better bit. The core of this is clear, though there's much more you can get into. But rain gardens save our waters. It's that simple. Help nature, help itself, keep the rivers and the streams in order. Because I don't think anyone just loves dirty water.
Seeing Jerome learning about protecting nature in cities, get motivated about it, is what makes it all worth it for me. It is what makes me passionate about the work that I do, because I know we're creating another advocate.
There's something that can be done. We can do this. I can be a better steward to the land that we're on, and then apply that idea to everybody. Then what would the world look like?
Hope you have liked that video. And I told you in the beginning that clean cities are smart cities and sustainable cities. In India, there are 20 cities, whatever I have displayed here, are named or certified as the smart cities and clean cities. Okay, maybe some of the cities have got 2 times the same award, but not all these cities are sustainable one. So that's why I was referring that time. The smart cities are the cities which may be of clean in nature, which can provide the Wi-Fi for without any problems, or maybe they can provide the cleaner environment. They can provide the patches of the green, but are they really sustainable one? Sustainability that we have understood so far, that we have discussed from the mindset to the social, to the community, to the developmental activities, everywhere the sustainable activities, sustainable things should come. But if just the government is going to implement some of the activities, it will just be called as a clean city or a smart city. It can have some good number of the buildings, rather good number of the green cover. Okay, all are clean cities, but sustainability is a question mark. Okay, smart cities in India, some facts are there. Some of the cities will be called as Tier 1 cities, and some of them are Tier 2 cities. Okay, so there is a mission called as a Smart City Mission that has been developed from the central government. From that guidelines, they have introduced some of the protocols. Based on the protocols, they have identified, they have followed. Whoever have followed will be have been awarded. Only 20 cities have been awarded. Only 20 cities have been awarded so far. These are the things that we have discussed actually. I don't want to iterate again here, but these are the key points or the key takeaways that you can see, that these are the smart city development solutions. You can even call it as the sustainable city. Sorry, I have to put it as a sustainable city development solutions. Okay, so due to the lack of time, I think I will run a little faster, and though we have discussed some of these points extensively. Okay, inclusive and sustainable development, seamless integration of compact areas with the neighboring areas, all these things that we have discussed. Area-based developments, there are three models that can be followed for a sustainable developmental city, something like retrofitting. It is a way an existing built-up area is planned and redesigned to achieve the objectives of the smart city. Retrofitting, this kind of the process is called retrofitting. And redevelopment. In the retrofitting, what happens? So whatever the existing building is there, you are going to convert that, or you are going to make use of that existing building in a better way, more efficient way. Okay, redevelopment, it has an impact on the development of the vacant areas using the innovative and efficient planning. Okay, so co-creation can also happen. Okay, greenfield development, this is very important, like how I mentioned the go green aspect. As a part of the greenfield development, the vacant areas are being developed with an innovative planning. The more provisions should be given to meet the ever bargaining requirements of the population. So if there is all the things are available over there, so then there is no need of fighting for the resources. The core elements of the smart city infrastructures is something like assured supply of electricity, adequate supply of the water, solid waste management and sanitization, efficient urban mobility, affordable housing. So these are some of the things that we have discussed, right? So these are some of the amendments were given by the government of India, and from thereby the people have followed it. The government in the local government have followed it. The district government or the mayors have followed that, and thereby they have got the Clean City Awards. Clean City Award, once it has got, it means that it has been continually, or it is the permanent asset. No, it is for that year only. And the next year also, if you want to get the Clean City Award or the Smart City Award, we have to show further more developments based on the existing developmental activities. Okay, so it is like that. And still yet to announce is the Wave City. Wave City has not been announced yet, because that is something like the high-tech city concept. So they one have to develop the high-tech city, and then it can be called as Wave City. Wave City is something like everything will be there. So it is something like IoT you will have sensors, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, geospatial technology. This is so ruling the world now. Okay, the geospatial technologies, it has a concern about the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and low energy global positioning systems and ultra wideband systems should be provided for any kind of the sustainable developed cities. Okay. Some of these trends I had put it over here: AI, ML, data analysis, data analytics. Everything will be involved in all these aspects. In all these aspects, whatever the list that I have prepared over here, everywhere you can have these pictures that I have mentioned over here in the right bottom corner, right? So these things are can be implemented or used or applied for all these systems for water, agriculture, transportation, waste management, green cover, diversity, education, so many things. Last month in June 5th, the UNEP has announced, has celebrated the World Environmental Day. And every year, June 5th, it is announced, it is World Environmental Day, right? So there, it has been announced as the ecosystem restoration. Okay, ecosystem restoration thing has been called for. Okay, so all these things are very, very essential for sustainable city. These are some of the trends that I have listed out. Benefits, if this is, I think this is my last slide. Okay, benefits of a sustainable city, something like better traffic flow. It's very, very essential if you are living in a Bangalore or some other metropolitan cities. Better traffic flow is very, very essential. Improved energy efficiency and health, of course we need it, it's a need of the hour. Safer cities, how safe is not only with the crimes, it's also with accidents or crimes or mismanagement and so many factors that you can think of. So those things should not be there. It should be our divide of all those things. Upgraded infrastructure, definitely. It's raining outside. So how do I go there and how do I identify the potholes? So this is a factor that should not be there. Upgraded infrastructure must be there. Better citizen collaboration and feedback. Cash save and cash earn. Better citizen collaboration must be there. Okay, that we have discussed in the community levels also. And if we have all that, cash save, if we can save, nothing but we have earned. I know I have taken some time extra, 15 minutes extra. Kindly excuse me on this. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Manjunatha sir. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think all of us got the idea about the
I know I
environment,
have
green
taken a lot of
technology,
time
green
in the.
computing, everything. So yes, participants, please post your questions. Manjunatha sir would be happy to answer the same.
Firstly, my apologies for taking extra time.
That is fine, sir. No problem. I think we had lots to cover.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any questions? I do not see any questions as such. Rajeshwari ma'am, shall we
Yes.
close?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir, for such
Thank you, sir.
for
Thank you, madam.
like kind
Thank
of
you very
eye
much, sir.
opener to most of us. Yeah, if participants come up with questions, we shall see. But as of now, nobody has actually posted. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thanks to BMS College.
Thank you very much, sir,
Thank
for
you, ma'am.
nice presentation.